Asteroid of fear.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast. Call this Caregiving Chronicles number 3. So, if it sounds like I'm talking low, that's because I am a little bit. Um, my 97-year-old is asleep. He had a cough last night, and I had to get up about 4 in the morning and give him some cough syrup. So, he's getting some Z's, and I'm catching up on a little update here. But yeah, when I started this, I figured I didn't know what it would look like. Still don't. I'm still going to come to you with regular Wednesday episodes, and definitely synopsize the week, hopefully on Saturdays. So you'll get a Wednesday, Saturday, and of course, after the next 2 Wednesdays, I'm unsure what that's going to look like, as I will have no more guest episodes to release. But I figure maybe I can do a weekend recap, maybe on Wednesdays and beginning of the week. So yeah, we're going to start there. I mean, I'll do them as often as I can. But yeah, the weekend was not bad. Not great, but not bad. And mostly not great just because I'm still kind of dealing with a back injury from overdoing it week 1. Um, but it was great because my wife was around to help, to assist. She did this for a living for 7 years on a med surge floor, so she's very well versed in turning patients, cleaning them, the best ways to get chucks and diapers underneath the patient, pulling, and it's just always easier with 2 people. I think that kind of goes without saying, both for safety reasons for the patient, client, and or the workers. But yeah, that's what made it great. Also, had a couple of trips to the chiropractor, decided to give that a whirl as opposed to taking a bunch of Advil, which I'd been doing. Stuff is terrible for your body, terrible for your liver. So try to cut back on that a little bit. And the other great part was I got some one-on-one time with my daughter. She was a little reluctant at first because she wanted to spend time with friends, but kind of the way it worked out was they were all busy because we had an annual rose parade and there was different events that they participate in. So they were all busy, but that's the way the universe worked. And her and I got to spend about 4 or 5 hours, shopping, doing some different things. Um, she went with me to the chiropractor, and there was a dog there, which she enjoyed. Looked like a dog, probably has the name of Banjo, wearing a neckerchief and stuff, kind of collie-esque, uh, some type of herding dog. But yeah, that worked out, and that was pretty cool. And then, of course, we had to go and, grab some supplies and some new pajamas because I might have mentioned before that the rehab lost all of his clothes except for like one pair and sent him home with 3 strangers' pajamas, and he won't wear them because he knows they're not theirs and they're not labeled as his. He kind of keeps it old school with that military mindset of labeling your clothes. But I guess, when you go into a rehab facility, that's something you want to do. So yeah, we bought him some new PJs and some compression socks to help with circulation because he had a little swelling in his feet. So we did that and then went to Five Below and she wanted some cookies. So we went by Crumble. Not my favorite, but you know, I guess like McDonald's and the Golden Arches, Crumble has a certain allure in place, in in the hearts of young people, or at least in their stomachs. So yeah, we did that and was able to get a little exercise in and um, attend NLU book club where we're reading Anthony Truck's Identity Shift. So, and it's not like your average book club. If you're curious, go over to NLU page and you can find out everything you need. But they're semi therapy growth sessions, I would say, um, which I needed after a long week. It was nice for me to kind of reset, fill my cup a little, and kind of like I told my wife, I couldn't do that without her. And it takes us both to kind of do this role. So, yeah, it's been interesting juggling that. And, then my mom went out of town and brought our dog over for the day on Saturday, then came back and picked her up. So, had a little visit from the animal, and that was kind of cool because, I had asked Buck if he had animals before, and he had a collie when he was a kid, but he got hit by a car and he never had one after that. And then I think as a family, maybe they had four cats once, and um, when they transferred coasts, they ended up leaving them with people in San Diego. So they never were really a animal family, but it was interesting because Sugar, towards the end of the evening, jumped up in the bed with him and he was rubbing her, and I thought that was pretty cute and kind of nice and probably offered some stress relief. And then, of course, having my daughter go in and say hi to him and offer him some candy because he needs the calories. And, I had to tell my daughter, look, he, you'll brighten his day. And if you have the opportunity to do so, and all it takes is a hello and a smile, then you should. And also, I said he won't want to refuse something that a kid has given him, so he'll eat it. And when she walked away, he gave it to me and put it on his little tray that is attached to his walker that sits bedside. But, later he did go back and eat it because we had to transfer him and change out bedding and stuff. And we he wanted some chicken and it was dry and he had told me he was kind of too weak to eat. And I told him that wasn't good. And but once we got him back in the bed, he tried to get down the chicken, but it was so dry from earlier. So he opted for an Ensure and a Milky Way, a mini, but I offer to give him as many calories as he needs because he needs the energy. And yeah, that's been kind of the biggest concern over the weekend is that he he got some rest, he got some sleep, took quite a few naps, partially because we removed the phones from his room. And I mean, his phones just ring off the hook with, it's a landline. So like scam calls and people trying to sell stuff. I mean, we got like 5 calls, 6 calls in 2 days trying to sell him burial insurance. So, removing a lot of those phone calls that interrupt his naps. I mean, in order for him to have the energy he's going to need for rehabilitation and or the appointments we got coming up this week. Um, yeah, he's got to have rest and he's got to have calories, nutrition. And that was a little bit of my concern was maybe he got so much rest and then he's so regimented with time that he's like, no, I can't eat at this time, or it's too late for this and too late for that. And, I guess my first concern was maybe like Saturday when um, my wife and them were gone and it was just he and I. And I'm like, you want some ice cream? Because he didn't really want to eat. And he's like, no. And he's like, I know how ridiculous that sounds because, he didn't have ice cream for like 2.5, 3 months. And that's his favorite. He has it daily. He doesn't miss. And so when he refused it, he's like, yeah, I know that sounds ridiculous. And I was like, yeah. Um, but he later came back and took said ice cream, which I was thankful for. I gave him three big scoops. He loves Neapolitan, so one big scoop of each. He had a couple of cookies. Um, so that was kind of that. And then, yesterday he has his normal breakfast, which is usually an English muffin, super toasted with peanut butter, apricot spread, and a glass of OJ. And he's been doing that really well, and then usually having a protein shake. But with the protein shakes, while they do provide the protein, they are kind of low in calorie, and but he likes the ready to drink. Otherwise, he'd probably be okay for a little mass gainer, if he took the shaken type versus the ready to drink type. But yeah, yesterday was the first day after saying he was almost too weak to eat after the Milky Way and whatnot. I believe he dozed off for a bit, and I did offer him some ice cream, but he declined and never went back for said ice cream. So a little concerning. Um, in the medical field, they call that like a failure to thrive when people don't want to eat. I mean, he's got plenty of output liquid wise, but losing that appetite, yeah, I don't know, concerning, especially given that we got three appointments this week and it's going to take every ounce of energy we have to get him to the chair, which he hates. Um, you could imagine sitting for all those months and then coming back and, you know, you get a little diaper rash or chafing. If you imagine what that feels like. And, every time he sits in the wheelchair, he just does not like the feeling as it rubs and he can't get comfortable with what, regardless of which side he shifts to. So he does not like that. And we're going to have a couple hours of that come tomorrow. Yeah, Tuesday. Two appointments back to back, different places, Medicab rides, and rest day on Wednesday and another appointment Thursday, but he did ask, hey, at least if there was one more day, then he had another day to be lazy. So I know he's into that. But yeah, we've had some interesting discussions on many different things because, he does watch the news and politics is hot right now. And, I think I mentioned before, growing up in a house full of Democrats and then maybe shifting to Republican, but he loves the slogan of country over party, because that's kind of what he truly believes, but never really alludes to if he's going Republican or why, or, um, yeah, it's hard to gauge his thoughts. So a lot of times I just ask questions around that. I try to get a deeper understanding of, you know, what it was they liked. And he had mentioned some pension plan, and I think that might have been the 30s, which, like, for Democrats, I guess it set them up in a better position further down the road. And maybe the Republicans didn't adopt it till the 40s, whatever it was. And, but I always, well, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be in a better position further down the road through investments. One of the things is that it all leads back to money. So, all right, back from a little pause for the cause. My wife had to let me know she's leaving and we wanted to check on him, but he's still asleep. So I'm back. That's the other reason I'm kind of not talking as loud, um, because he is hard of hearing and I tend to talk real loud, and therefore you got to adjust. So I'm probably just talking normal, but at a lower tone. Anywho, back to what we were saying is, I just keep having these great conversations with them. And um, as many of you know, the since January, I've just had a super wild period of growth. A large part of it stemming from, I would say, my faith, circling back around to that. Not that I never had faith, but I was just way less than obedient, I guess you could say. And so, kind of coming back to that and understanding every time I'm not obedient to what's aligned and true to me, that I live with a form of regret. So, yeah, talk about that kind of stuff. And, perhaps that was another reason that this time period is important to me, the growth and what it means. I was in this place of, not that I wasn't growing, but let's say pursuing the 100 episodes and, all these right conversations coming in at the right time. And then this just happened to come to be. And um, I knew that this was right for me, regardless of how it impacted the podcast, regardless of what it's going to look like, what's going to come from it. I have no idea, but like I always say, this is it for now, and I'm gonna roll with it because I believe that this experience is meant for something, even if I don't fully understand it yet. And yeah, being able to talk to him about that, because he is a man of faith as well, and knowing that I'm coming closer to the truest, most aligned version of myself through taking on these challenges. So that's what I'm doing. I always say it reminds me a lot of boot camp in a way, not partially the physical component, not that boot camp is over challenging physically, but, you know, there's a piece of my story of that a lot of you don't know of. When I joined the Navy to go in to a particular program, the Navy nuclear program, which I did not want to do, but that's what I had to do to get my parents to sign, mostly my dad. And because he was big on education, and I wanted to be there, but not in that program, and tried to change my job. And of course, that wasn't an option because they want to nail you down to that, um, because it's good for them. And so, I found myself in a place I didn't want to be, having to do something for 9 weeks that I couldn't see past, not realizing how it would all impact my future. But when you do certain things like that, you know, when I say it's similar to boot camp, is that it takes a little bit of everything you got, almost your 100%, be it physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it is you're dealing with at the specific time you go through that. People deal with different things, whether married men being away from their families, or I was just young, um, sort of independent, mouthy, just spoke the truth. Oh, you hear the thing going out. And therefore, yeah, that's what I meant, was just having to be prepared all the time. Long days, 4 a.m. till whatever. So, last night was probably midnight. Um, so yeah, there's just so many factors. And the past week has been very selfless. I haven't thought about myself once, except for the time I was filling my cup, hanging out with my daughter, going for a walk, realizing how much I need that. And that's kind of what I meant by selfless service. everything is for the good of the other. You come second until you need to come first. But as a person of faith, I believe that God and the universe will give me exactly what it is I need to thrive, be successful. Probably heard the beep again. That's my wife leaving. So it's been an interesting journey. The weekend was its own beast, and here we are, the beginning of week 2, a Monday, as I'm recording this Monday morning with a full week ahead. And we're just gonna keep going and doing it to it. But he and I've spent a lot of time talking about faith, and he's mentioned Revelation several times. And last night he kind of broke it down of, there's turmoil, you don't know how long it lasts. And then there's periods of non-turmoil, and it kind of goes on repeat with you never knowing how long it's going to last. And it was only this morning that I sort of made the connection of, is the revelation that he's considering of, this is a period of turmoil for him. Is he concerned that it's his last period of turmoil? Or how long is he going to last through this turmoil? But being a man of faith, he knows that the turmoil lasts as long as God says it needs to last. God willing, he'll make it through if that's his plan. And if it's not, then he knows he has that personal relationship and that he's going to be okay. And that's kind of what faith is. Yeah, I don't know how long I thought about that, where I made the connection, but I know it was this morning as I was sitting, maybe reading a daily Bible passage, going through emails, thinking, you know, you can interpret that however you want to, um, whether you're spiritual, whether you're religious, whether you believe in frequencies, vibrations in the universe, whatever you want to call it. Like I say before, we all need water. We all know what water is. Different cultures and different language. Sometimes we just call it a different name. So you call it whatever you want. I call it God in the universe. Kind of something I've always known was there. You might have heard my back crack there. If you're watching, you see my shoulders moving. So yeah, that's kind of my little Monday morning reflection. We'll see how the day goes. We'll see what the day brings. We'll see what tomorrow brings. And just going to embrace the experience, understand that I'll be okay. I'll be successful. Whatever road he wants to walk down, whether it's turmoil or we go back into a period of non turmoil, I'll walk with him. That's what I feel I was called to do for the moment. And that's what I'll do. It's what feels good to me. It's what feels obedient. It's what feels right. And that's how I want to be. That's aligned with me. It's truthful to me. So, yeah, I'm just going to stick to my guns and keep doing this and we'll see what happens. It's a day by day, week by week. Feels a lot like being on deployment when you take a few things. I have a couple guitars, a stack of books, my computers. I'm recording this one from the kitchen. I've set up my setup a little bit different so I can be further away, not bother them or not hear the news through the other side if I get a daytime break. And, but yeah, you do your job for 12 hours a day when you're out at sea, and you're probably up about 18 doing other stuff. And the day is a lot like that. Everything revolves around this task I have that's a 24/7 gig, and you pepper in the things you love as time allows. But it really shrinks your bubble down and you focus on the few things that are important. And, do I think this gets easier? No, I think I just get better and stronger. I'll adapt. Just like after the first week of boot camp, you get the feel for it and your body adjusts to the additional output that's needed, both mentally, physically, and also spiritually. And you lean into your faith and you get through it. And that's how you grow. Then I'll probably be on some other path of who knows what it'll look like, wherever God in the universe takes it. And I'm sure there'll be other challenges to try and level up from, as is life. Rinse and repeat, turmoil, non turmoil, challenges, and thriving. That's why faith is important. Knowing you will always be delivered through it. Knowing you'll never be given more than you can complete, even when it seems like it. But that's how you get better. What's the fun in doing things you know you can do? The fun and the reward is doing things you didn't think were possible and then doing it. It's almost like this podcast coming into 15 months. And once I get a time to set up my new camera and interface and a few things, I'll be excited for the quality and change improvement that will provide. And hopefully I'll start get having time to work on some of the other stuff. But as time permits, I'm not going to sweat it. I'm just going to roll with the punches, go with the flow, take it as it comes and adapt and enjoy. Got to enjoy along the way. Keep finding those little pockets of magic moments through conversation, connection. Keep learning about me. Keep learning about him. Getting some of that old age wisdom of what's important. And it's funny because I asked myself the first time last night was I always ask a lot of people I interview what's one of the wildest things that's happened you never would have thought of or something good. And, you know, 4 months ago, if you'd asked me if thought I'd be doing this, no way. I was on the way to episode 100, had like 18 interviews scheduled and was on a roll. And here I am. Everything's changed like that, but it's okay. It's been some of the most challenging and rewarding week of my life. And sure it'll continue to be that way, and I'm going to try to enjoy it and soak it up for what it's worth. As a man thinketh, so he is. I think that's how it goes, something like that. So I'm going to keep it positive, keep it light, keep it going in the right direction. And I hope you guys will do the same. So remember, go out there and be the person that you would want to meet.
Asteroid of fear.